Hey guys, welcome back to 4Down Territory with my co-host AJ Lawrence. I'm Bobby DeMuro on a rooftop in West Hollywood because we're trendy these last couple episodes. I think that's what it is, trendy. I'll keep telling myself that. Talking about sports, and obviously, as we do every week, giving you 4 hot topics in sports and 4 things that you need to know as we kick our debates off. And this week, kicking our debate off, we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA draft because it is tanking season in the NBA, and some teams are doing it oh so very spectacularly. Looking at you, Los Angeles Lakers, way to lose to New Orleans the other day. I guess that was a couple weeks ago, but that one just sticks in my mind over anything else. The Lakers are totally tanking. They're not the only ones, though. So let's run down the draft a little bit, talk about teams, talk about picks. It's very early on, but we are going to take a look at who might go where and who might need what in the NBA draft. So, AJ, broadly speaking, even before we start, this is a great year to draft high in the NBA. There's a lot of great college players.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be a very exciting draft. We've got Marcus Smart, Joel Embiid. We've got some good stuff.
And we're not even talking about Jabari Parker or Andrew Wiggins yet, and those are the 2 biggest guys in the draft. So let's go through it a little bit. I mean, we start with the Milwaukee Bucks. They've got Larry Sanders, your guy. I know you're a Larry Sanders fan. They need everything else. It's the Cat Williams comedy joke, everything.
Yes.
They need everything. I mean, just wanted to say it twice. I don't know. Joel Embiid, Jabari Parker, Andrew Wiggins. Can you go wrong if you're the Bucks? Just draft somebody.
Yeah, no, they are definitely in need. They have a lot of, a lot of weak points almost. But the thing
to
is,
put it mildly.
Yeah, but I think they're going to end up getting it together. Brian Knight, he's marginal plus. He's kind of doing all right. I think they would be strong in terms of getting a good point guard.
I guess the one thing they can screw up, of course, is if the lottery doesn't give them like a top 3 pick like they deserve because they have tanked the most spectacularly. And if they end up with like the 9th pick, oh, God rest their souls, it's going to be a long process in Milwaukee. Maybe a team that actually everybody wants to talk about because nobody cares about the Bucks.
Yes.
How about the Lakers? The Lakers, they need a lot too. Your boy Pau Gasol may not be back next year.
No, and Mike D'Antoni?
Probably not coming back next year either.
I don't think so.
So who do you like for the Lakers? I mean, big man, guard, what position do they need to get better at?
Gosh, I think they would be best with Embiid, especially if Pau Gasol goes out. He's a good center, he's strong. My only concern is that his back, he's already out like the last 2 games of the season because his back issues. 7 feet tall, 250, he's pretty slender. They say he's like Olajuwon, but at the same time, with that big stature comes a big set of problems.
And I like for them, if Embiid is not available, if they pick late, or if the back is an issue, I like Julius Randle, also from Kentucky. I like Aaron Gordon, power forward from Arizona, and Willie Cauley-Stein, the center at Kentucky, who is a little more offensively challenged. But if the Lakers can go in free agency and get Kevin Love and Kevin Durant, which they have very seriously talked about doing in the next 2 years, you've got offense, and if you get a good defensive center, you have a Shaq-like presence, maybe not quite that good, but that kind of a presence, and you can build offense around him.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Look, the Lakers suck this year. It actually could be very, very good for their future, depending on how they work free agency in the draft, which we expect from them. Mm-hmm. They're the Lakers.
Yes.
Now,
I was going to say, it's really weird seeing them at the bottom.
It is.
Yeah,
it
below
is
Sacramento
weird
on top of that. It's so weird.
About 3 weeks ago, they were the worst team in the West for like 2 days, and then Sacramento lost again. And I was like, you got to be kidding.
Yeah, they're back down at the bottom.
This hasn't happened in a long time. And if they draft right and sign right in free agency, it won't happen for a long time again.
Hopefully so.
Speaking of at the bottom, one team we were used to seeing at the bottom ever since Chris Paul left is the New Orleans Hornets turned Pelicans. They need a lot too, maybe not quite as much as the Lakers or Bucks. Maybe more of a guard for them, huh?
Yeah, no, I think they do have a lot of needs. The question is, are they going to get it? They're in a position where, they made the trade, was it last year, of Noel?
Yeah.
And they traded a top round, first 5 pick, and now he's in a situation where, hey, are they actually going to be able to have a first-round pick, or are they going to have to wait for the second? Because if they wait for the second, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, top 5's protected. If they get a top 5 pick in the draft, they get that pick. If they get pick number 6, that pick goes to the Philadelphia 76ers, who, for the love of God, need that pick too.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
But the Sixers maybe could get 2 picks in like the top 8 or 10, depending on how that goes. So that could be good for them. And we're not even talking about them today. And then the final team we're going to look at, I don't know why we're staying in the West. We just are. The Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings need a lot too. I don't think they're as far off as people think. DeMarcus Cousins is getting much better and, more importantly, maturing off the court.
Yes.
So maybe for them, a guy you love, Mr. Marcus Smart.
Yeah, no, he would be a good fit there. In Sacramento, there's nothing really to do to get you in trouble, so I think it's a good way. And the thing is kind of they got rid of Tyreek Evans, and they're just really limiting and narrowing down their roster to people who really want to be there and can play well. So I think that they're on the right road.
I like the draft into a city where you can't get into trouble thing. I think that's awesome. Kansas State's football coach used to recruit players based on the fact that he would bring them and their parents to Manhattan, Kansas, and he would say, hey, you can't get arrested here. Your kid's not going to get in trouble in Manhattan. It was a beautiful recruiting pitch for parents. I will say, though, the Portland Jailblazers of the 1990s might have a bone to pick with you about that, because Rasheed Wallace found way after way after way to get in trouble in Portland.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm from Sacramento. There's nothing to do there.
There's two guys, too, I want to watch, prospects I want to watch. Rodney Hood from Duke. He's been shooting a little, I guess we'll say suspect of late, but he is 6'8", 180 pounds. He is like, see, I don't know if you guys can see the tree. I think it's off camera. There's a really thin tree off camera back here. He's that thin. So if you put a little muscle on that guy, he's a beast.
Yeah, no, I think you could have something to work with there. But for right now, just don't want a strong wind.
Just let him eat a lot of Hot Pockets or something. I don't know. And the second one, I mentioned him very briefly, is Willie Cauley-Stein, the center at Kentucky. Like Embiid, he is a true 7-footer. There are actually fewer than you think of those guys in the NBA. A true 7-footer, a little limited offensively, but if he goes to a team where he can play defense, where there are other offensive players, like the Lakers, Kobe Bryant, he potentially gets in a pretty good situation. So I think Cauley-Stein would be a steal, maybe in about picks like 8 to 10, depending on how this all plays out. There is a lot of time to go before the NBA draft. We did this purposely. I have a feeling in a couple months we'll be talking about this yet again. So in the meantime, if you guys at home have any NBA draft thoughts or issues, or maybe we didn't talk about your Eastern Conference team, sorry about that, Philadelphia 76ers, bring your story on. We want to hear who you think your team will draft in the NBA draft. As we move on to second down this week, and the baseball rule. I had never heard of this until AJ emailed me about this a couple weeks ago, but a very brief rundown. It is a legal topic, and we have a legal expert on this show. I'll give you a hint, it ain't me. It's in 2009, a fan of the Kansas City Royals went to Kauffman Stadium, wanted to have a hot dog and a beer and watch a baseball game, and why you'd buy tickets to a Royals game, I have no idea. Actually, we shouldn't make fun of them. They're decent. We'll talk about that next down. But at the game, the Royals mascot hit him in the face with a hot dog. And it was serious. He required a couple surgeries to his eye. This is funny, but it's also serious. It was like, honestly, it messed up his eye. He had a couple surgeries, and he sued the team, saying when you go to a baseball game, you get expected to hit with a, to get hit with a foul ball. You are not expected to get hit with a hot dog. You guys owe me some money for these medical bills. The Missouri Supreme Court is looking at this case. It's come all the way to the Missouri Supreme Court. Maybe it'll go to the U.S. Supreme Court.
It could go on the way. There's a lot. There are a few states out there who have declined to adopt the baseball rule.
Idaho, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to give baseball franchises, kind of that sense of protection in terms of whatever inherently happens at the game. You're not necessarily insulated from it as a franchise. You might be liable. And there was a case, I believe, it wasn't too long ago, it was in Texas, and it reached the Texas Supreme Court where a woman got hit by a baseball while she was at a game, and unfortunately she lost an eye. And, but Texas said, hey, we adhere to the baseball rule, which means that you can expect there's a potential of a ball hitting you in the eye. It's kind of one of those inherent things in attending a baseball game, so beware of the ball. But I guess the bigger question here is now, should you beware of the mascot and his flying hot dogs?
I think there's obviously a line here. Anybody who's been to a Major League Baseball game or a minor league baseball game recently, no one pays attention. And as a baseball fan and former baseball player, it pisses me off, and it's the most ridiculous thing ever. Everybody's there being social, talking, and hanging out. Watch the game. And if you get hit with a ball at a game, I don't mean to lack empathy, but if you are hit with a ball at a game and you're not paying attention, it's your problem. And I know that sounds tough, but it really is your problem. You're at a game, pay attention. Now, the line here is, if you get hit with a hot dog at a game, I think that's the team's problem. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Missouri Supreme Court comes out on that same side, because yes, I will watch for a flying ball, and I'm watching there for the game, but I don't come necessarily for the mascot to be shooting hot dogs in the air or throwing t-shirts at me. And so, unfortunately, it might become a point where we no longer have mascots, or, objects that aren't baseballs flying through the air at games. But as of right now, it's kind of a situation where we got to wait and see what the court comes down with.
And listen, if we did abolish that, or abolish it case-by-case basis, if they got rid of all T-shirt guns from NBA games, I'm totally cool with that. That T-shirt gun is literally going to take somebody's head off. It's the stupidest promotion ever. Just go have the cheerleaders. The guys at games love the NBA cheerleaders. Just go have them run through the stands tossing T-shirts. You don't need a high-powered gun to shoot a T-shirt. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I couldn't agree more. And I think when I was in D.C., they were shooting out Chipotle burritos, which, as far as I'm concerned,
well, let's not go too far.
Those are more dangerous, believe me, than T-shirts or hot dogs.
I guess the last point here is, and maybe a more serious point from a watching the game perspective, if this guy wins, which I think he's got a pretty legit case, do the Royals turn around and say, hey, you know what? We don't want to risk this anymore. We're putting up huge glass stands around the entire stadium at the game. One of the hallmarks of baseball and basketball, those two sports specifically, is how close you can get to the players, autographs, talking, whatever. So do you put up hockey, glass hockey boards or whatever, so you can't get to these guys and they can't get sued? Is that what's coming?
Yeah, unfortunately, it could be the case where franchises, they don't want to take that kind of legal liability on, and considering how many fans you have out there, those are all opportunities to get hit and unfortunately to get sued. So,
well, let's talk more Royals, but we'll take it on the field now, so no hot dogs. If anybody throws one from off screen, we'll try to watch for it. Let's do a little bit of a Major League Baseball preview, because I don't know, AJ, if you heard, but it turns out that the season's going to start here pretty soon. Fun fact.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's new, like this whole opening day thing.
I don't know. They're trying this new sport. It's called baseball, and you have a bat and a ball, and you try to run around the bases, and it's not like
I don't think it's going to last.
Well, I mean, we'll see about that. Whatever you say, Abner Doubleday. Okay, so goofiness aside, let's do a little Major League Baseball preview. And because we're intrepid youths here on this show, we're going to go and run down every single division winner, division by division, which sounds more proactive than it actually is, because there's only 6 divisions. But AJ, who do you like in the American League East this year?
I am all about the Yankees. They've got Tanaka, they've done their spending for the year, they went to Bloomies and picked up a few players. I love me some Yankees, and so I think they're going to take it.
They did get McCann, they did get Ellsbury, they did get Tanaka, so okay, I understand where you're coming from. All my other division picks are serious. I'm going to go a little goofy on this one, but I'm actually going to stick by it, and come October, I'll stand by this pick all day, the Toronto Blue Jays. Listen, the Blue Jays have a decent starting rotation. Esmiel Rogers, J.A. Happ, R.A. Dickey, and Mark Burley is a really good 4. Look up Esmiel Rogers. He had a good year last year. They've got a decent lineup. They've got Joey Bats, Joey Bautista. They have Melky Cabrera. No more suspension, no more steroid. He's clean now, and he's still hitting home runs, kind of. They've got Brett Laurie at second base. They've got Edwin Encarnacion, who honestly is one of the most underrated offensive players in the entire Major League Baseball. I know he strikes out a lot, but he's a decent defender, and he's a good bat. I like the Blue Jays in the AL East. I'm sticking by that one. You can put a something or other on it. I don't know. Put a bow on it. Send a cooler in my head. All right, let's move on to the AL Central. I'm serious about the Blue Jays. AL Central, Tigers, Indians, and the Royals are pretty decent. Who do you like out of the 3? Because nobody likes the White Sox or Twins.
You know what? I'm going to go with the Indians. They did really well last season, and so I'm not surprised that they do well this season.
And everybody returns. 75-year-old Jason Giambi returns. He's older than their manager, Terry Francona. It's actually not far away. He is old. I'll respect the Indians' decision. I love the Tigers. I think you have a situation in Detroit where you had everybody from last year. You lose Prince Fielder because you didn't want to pay out contracts and you wanted to save money, but you add Ian Kinsler, a great second baseman who is now playing with a chip on his shoulder. Kinsler, a couple weeks ago, said to the press that he was so mad about the Rangers trading him, he hopes they go 0-162.
Yep.
That's motivation, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to go winless the whole year. But that's a guy who is motivated and pissed, and that's a guy I want starting for me. And oh, by the way, the Tigers have this guy. Have you ever heard of Miguel Cabrera?
No, I think he's new.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like really good or something. I guess he's like a decent hitter. I don't know. We don't know anything about baseball. He could be okay. I'm kidding. He's the greatest hitter in the league. They've got him. They've got Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander on the mound. Screw the Indians. And the Blue Jays. Go Blue Jays. Okay, AL West. I know you like the Mariners, Robinson Cano, and Jay-Z, so I'll just let you have this one.
Yes. And although Cano wasn't too happy in terms of his hitting teams out there, but hadn't they spent all the money on him, he might have had a little more in his arsenal. But still, I think that it's going to end up coming together well, especially, after they play a little bit together and bond. And I think they're going to perform pretty good.
I don't know if I can agree with you on that. I think it will come together well in about 2 years. They need to clear out some other salary cap stuff. In 2 or 3 years from now, the Mariners are going to be very, very good if they do what they should. I like the Oakland A's. The A's are the best-run franchise maybe in all of baseball, aside from their horrible stadium issue and that disaster of the Coliseum in Oakland. But besides that, they are a very tight ship on the field. They've got good prospects. They develop players. They've got the same crew coming back from last year. They added a couple good relievers who were young. I like the A's in the AL West. Could do the same thing they did last year. So let's move on to the NL East now as we move on to the National League, the real league. Any league that pitchers hit, that's the real league. Screw this designated hitter garbage. The NL East is really pretty boring.
I think it's a bit barren. I think we both agree. What, the Nationals?
The Nationals.
Isn't that? But they're the only ones in that, right? Because
pretty much.
I don't know if anybody else is playing baseball there.
The Mets are not. The Phillies are not. The Marlins, Lord knows the Marlins are not. And the Braves. Here's my thing with the Braves. They have a decent team. They've got good pitchers. Chris Medlin. They've got a couple good guys. My problem with the Braves is you can't have like 6 guys in your starting lineup hit 200 and go anywhere. And I'm going to name every single one of you guys. Both Uptons, I'm looking at you, BJ and Justin. You both hit about 220. Jason Hayward, Dan Uggla, and Evan Gattis. And the one good hitter you have that anchors the team, Brian McCann, is now a member of the New York Yankees. The Braves are going to score 100 runs this year in 162 games. I may not be far off. So, NL East, Washington Nationals, I think that's the only division we agree on.
Yeah.
Moving to the NL Central, I guess we agree on this one too.
Well,
You're wearing the color.
I guess.
You guess the Cardinals. Obviously the Cardinals.
Well, I know. I was at the World Series last year. They're kind of baller.
Well, kind of baller. What are you talking about? They needed 2 position changes. They needed a shortstop. They needed a center fielder. They got Johnny Peralta, fresh off his PED scandal, and they got Peter Burgess from the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles of Anaheim, whatever the hell they call him now. By the way, before we move on, the Los Angeles Angels, literally, if you translate that, is the Angels.
Wow, I haven't gotten that deep yet.
There you go.
I haven't hit that level.
Yeah, I know a little Spanish. Okay, well, moving back to the NL Central, that's the only time we're going to talk about the Angels on this show because they suck. Moving on to the NL Central, Cardinals obviously are the best team there. They draft well, they develop well, they go get the right free agents. The Reds and Pirates both are good, but they need to have the same perfect year they had last year again.
Yeah, and I think that'll be hard to do, in the division with the Cardinals. Although the Cardinals did lose one of their key pieces to the Yankees, who I love seeing pinstripes now.
Yeah, that's true, but he was just a playoff guy. They got other people. It's cool. Listen, as long as they don't lose the Yadier Molina, they're good.
Good point.
All right, NL West. I know what you're going to say.
Yes, Los Angeles Dodgers. I think they're going to be exceptional. If they can rein Puig in, because Lord knows what he put on a good, 16 pounds, something or another, and he's going rogue. But
he's driving rogue too.
Yeah. As long as he gets used to LA a little bit, realizes we're all celebrities here, then I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Cubans in LA, but he'll fit in. Yeah. And they have another Cuban on the Dodgers now, and Alex Guerrero. Look, when you spend $96 billion on players, you better be damn exceptional. But I agree with you, the Dodgers. Just to play devil's advocate, though, look out for 2 teams in the West, and no, it's not my beloved Colorado Rockies. It's the Arizona Diamondbacks and the San Diego Padres. Both teams pitch better than you think, and both teams are scrappy as hell. Could they challenge the Dodgers? Probably not. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did. So I'll say Arizona Diamondbacks. I still think the Dodgers get on the wild card, though, because your World Series champion, Miss Lawrence, is...
I don't know, maybe the Yankees?
Really?
Okay, it's the Cardinals.
Oh, the Cardinals. Okay, well, I'm picking the Dodgers. If they get in on the division or the wild card, I say Dodgers. The Cardinals may be in the better position. I will say if the Dodgers don't win the World Series, with as much money as they spent, it's got to be a total disappointment, right?
No, I think it would be a very much a disappointment, but also, I think it's a matter of the team meshing and really having that long-standing relationship. And we saw how much Puig was an integral player last year and how much it turned everything around. And so if they can't rein him in, I do think it'll be questionable in terms of the team's, performance moving forward.
But moving on to 4th down now, the NCAA basketball tournament is ongoing and just never seems to stop when the month of March rolls around. God, I've got a lot of thoughts on this. AJ, I'll let you start. Do you even like this damn tournament?
I actually do find it really interesting. It gets people in the office together that you wouldn't normally talk to. It allows you to see brackets and how they work. No, I do like it. I think it's fun. It's interesting. It really does get people involved in college basketball who normally necessarily wouldn't follow it. So
I agree with that. It's completely entertaining, and I definitely fill out a bracket myself, and I've never been perfect or anywhere close. But one year I did pick Georgia Tech to get to the Final Four, and they did, so thanks, Georgia Tech. I will say about this, it does not get the best team at the end of the year to be the champion. There's a lot of cases of this. A couple years ago, Kenneth Farid at Morehead State upset Louisville, got to the Sweet 16. Were they one of the best 16 teams in the country? No. Davidson went to the Elite Eight with Steph Curry. Were they one of the best 8? No. And George Mason went to the Final Four. Were they one of the best 4? Hell no. But they got there because they got hot at the right time. The perfect example this year is Wichita State. 31-0, everybody says, well, you know, the regular season doesn't count, the tournament time counts. Well, guess what? They were a Final Four team last year. You can't have it both ways. Either they're legit last year because of the Final Four, or they're legit this year because of the 31 wins. The bigger picture, though, is the best team doesn't always win and gets tripped up by something stupid, and it completely devalues the regular season. So why watch regular season college basketball? Just tune in for the tournament, which you do anyways, and then just watch the tournament. So does anything ever change, or do we always have this tournament going forward?
No, I think we should always have the tournament. It's exciting and it's fun, and you know, it's kind of one of those things where we've been doing it this long, and we've enjoyed it for this long. Let's just keep it going.
I totally agree with that. It's never going to change, and I'm fine with it. It is a lot of fun. But if we're talking about the tournament crowning a champion, that's bullcrap. It doesn't crown a champion. It crowns the best team who can survive and advance for 6 games and 3 weekends in the months of March and April. It doesn't crown the champion, and it totally devalues the 35-game regular season that Kentucky or Arizona or UCLA or Michigan, they are slogging through really, really tough conferences, and guess what? It's all irrelevant come tournament time. Sure, it helps with your seed at the start, I get it, but you can still get tripped up by a 14 seed and you're done. Who cares? So I don't know if you find a better way to do it. I know the better way to do it is the NBA system. Best of 7, you cannot hide in a best of 7 series. You have to truly be the best team, series in and series out.
Absolutely.
But college basketball is never going to do that.
No, I don't think they're looking to smoke people out like that.
Yeah, could you imagine Kansas and Kentucky playing like a best of 7, or like Arizona and Michigan? You'd watch it, it'd be interesting. It would never, ever, ever happen in NCAA whatsoever. So there's not a better system to use. That being said, I think we need to get away from this be-all and end-all NCAA tournament crap and look at it for what it is, which is just kind of an escapade. It's an entertaining side story at the end of the regular season.
Absolutely. And one that should continue to go on.
Can you tell I'm fired up about that? All right, well, that's it for us. I know we're going to have a lot of opinions on this because anybody who watches this show down south or back east, chances are is a huge college basketball fan, much bigger than on the West Coast here. So let us know if you agree or totally disagree with me about the NCAA tournament, and if you were NCAA commissioner for a day, what would you do with college basketball? Do you keep the tournament as is? Do you expand it? Do you close it down? Do you do a best of 7 with the best 8 teams or something like that, which would also be interesting?
That would.
But it would take a long time. But let us know what you think, guys, on Twitter or Facebook. We are 4 Down Territory. That's it for the show this week. With my co-host, AJ Lawrence, I'm Bobby DeMuro. We will see you guys in another couple weeks to debate 4 more hot topics in sports.